Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, thank you for clicking this video. My name is Nicole and this is the Millennial Girls Diary. If you're already subscribed, you know I truly appreciate your support. Today I want us to talk about something that I think is very important to start thinking about, to start working on whilst you're in your 20s. But once you hit that 30 mark and you're in your 30s, I think that these are things that you need to put at your top urgent, top priority things and start prioritizing them. The very first one is to get life insurance. I know this is something that is not really spoken about, especially amongst people of color, amongst Africans, but I think that it's important that we have these conversations because at some point down the road, by God's grace, much later, when we've lived our lives and we are grandmothers and great grandmothers, later on in life, we are going to pass away. And when we pass away, it's important that we think about the people that we're leaving behind. For the benefit of those who do not know what I'm talking about, life insurance is basically when you pay a premium every single month to an insurance company. It could be as low as maybe $30 and it can go as high as you want. And later on in life, when you do pass away, your beneficiaries, these are the people you're leaving behind. So it could be your children, your spouse, whoever it is that you're leaving behind will be given a large payout. So if you start doing this now, by the time you're much older, you're going to be leaving your children with hundreds and thousands of dollars. This is one of the best ways actually to build generational wealth. By generational wealth, I mean leaving your children with an inheritance, leaving your children's children actually with an inheritance. In addition to generational wealth, it's also a great way to just sustain your family once you're gone. Think about it this way. If you're in a family setting, your family is accustomed to a specific type of lifestyle because you're contributing to the family income. When you're no longer there, that family income is going to be reduced and your family is going to feel that pain. So now they're going through the emotional trauma of not having you around, but they're now also having to deal with financial issues. But if you have life insurance, your family will be able to sustain that same lifestyle that they lived when you were around because the insurance company will be paying them. So definitely prioritize getting life insurance if you don't have it already. If you're in your 20s, that's the best time to get it because you can actually get a lower premium. I just signed up for my life insurance and the lady that I did it with was actually telling me if I had signed up for it just last year when I was 29, I would have paid a significantly lower amount because I was considered to be healthier and less risky to an insurance company that I am now in my 30s. So if you're in your 20s, definitely get it now so that you can pay a lower premium amount. The next thing that I think is super important to work on in your 30s is home ownership. I think everybody that's in their 30s should start thinking about and start focusing and strategizing how they want to go about home ownership. I know it's a controversial topic, especially for people who live in more expensive cities like Toronto. I've spoken to people who do not want to purchase homes because it's just so expensive and it makes more sense to rent forever than to actually buy a house. My answer to that is you still need a property, especially if you want to have children. I think it just provides them with an extra layer, an extra shield of security. And even if you don't want to buy a property to live in, you can get an investment property. Again, this is another way of building generational wealth because if you have an investment property, it belongs to you. And when you pass away, your children are going to be left with this house. Your children's children are going to be left with this house. And even if not for your children, do it for yourself because later on when you're in your retirement age and you're no longer working, you can actually survive off rental income from this property because you'll obviously be done paying for the mortgage by then and you can start just enjoying the income from the rental. And speaking of retirement, in your 30s is also a good time to think about your retirement plan. We're all gonna have to stop working at some point, maybe in our 40s, in our 50s. What's your plan after that? How are you going to survive? It's so important that now that we're in our 30s, and even if you're in your 20s, to start thinking about putting things in place so that later on in life you can afford the same lifestyle. You can still afford to travel, you can still afford business class, you can still afford eating in fancy restaurants, you can still afford buying whatever it is that tickles your fancy. You can still afford to do those things. Now there are different ways that you can go about this. The first way, like I already said, is to get an investment property so that once you're older you're just enjoying the income that's coming from those investment properties. Another way is to actually start contributing contributing premiums to a retirement plan so that once you're older, you have all this money stashed up that you can start withdrawing. They have different names for this in different countries. Here in Canada, it's called a registered retirement savings plan. I know in the US, it's called a 401k, if I'm not mistaken. So make sure you're contributing to those things. Even when you're considering your employment, when you're looking at your employment benefits, I would rather you opt for a job that provides you with a retirement plan than a job that's going to pay you slightly more money, because you know for sure that your future is secured. This is really, really important. You don't want to be a burden to your children in the future. Just make sure that you sort out your things now that you're young and you can still work. Take good care of your health. Now that you're in your 30s, you're still young, you're still vibrant. Whatever it is that you're doing now is definitely going to have a significant impact on the life that you will live later on. So make sure you're eating well, you're eating a healthy diet, you're drinking your water, you're exercising, you are taking care of your mental state. Just make sure you take care of yourself and that you're in good health so that later on down the road you don't have issues. You know, we all know the areas that we need to work on. Personally, I need to work on exercising because I think in terms of my diet, for the most part, I do okay. So, you know, ask yourself certain questions. Do you really have to eat red meat every day? Do you really have to drink alcohol every day? Do you really have to smoke 10 cigarettes a day? The people that I know that have lived long, way into their 90s, you know, even 80s and even 100s, I've personally known them to have lived very healthy lives when they were younger. My grandfather, by God's grace, is over 100. And for the 30 years that I've lived on the earth, I don't think I ever saw him eat red meat. Well, at least I can't remember seeing him eat red meat. I know he used to eat like chicken, but I never saw him eat red meat. He always used to have like his portion of fruits, his portion of vegetables. He used to like walk around the yard every single day. He was active. He used to be active when he was younger. So do what you have to do now that you're younger so that later on in life, your body will be able to carry you and you can live a long and healthy life. It's also really important to diversify your investment portfolio when you're in your 30s. Now, if you're in your 30s and you don't even have an investment portfolio, definitely look into that, because the best age to start building your investment portfolio is in your 20s, so that by the time you're in your 30s you can actually start enjoying it. But if you haven't, you know, it's still okay, you can still start today. So have it in such a way that, you know, you have some money in a bank, you have some money in bonds, you have some money in stocks, and structure it in such a way that you can make withdrawals 5 years from now, 10 years, 15 years, and in your retirement age. Because as much as we are saving for the future, life is happening now, and we still do want to live a good life now. You know, you don't want to suffer and deprive yourself now because you're waiting for the future. God forbid, what if you don't make it that long? What if you don't make it to see your retirement age? So you still want to enjoy now. So diversify your investment portfolio in such a way that you're constantly able to make withdrawals and you can live that lifestyle that you want to live. It's also important to work out your salvation. This is so important. I don't know how I can stress this, but all the things that we chase now, our careers, families, getting married, kids, cars, houses, designer bags, travel, whatever it is, nothing is more important than working out your salvation. It's so important that you know without a doubt that if Jesus comes back tonight, you know, whilst I'm recording this, if Jesus was to come back tonight, you're going to make it in the first flight to heaven. I don't know about you, I personally want to make it to heaven with the rapture. I don't want to wait to see what's going to happen with everything else that's going to happen once the rapture is gone. I want to make it to heaven in the first flight, period. And so I'm willing to do what it takes now to make sure that that happens. I mean, nobody's perfect, but thank God for his mercies, because it is only by his mercies that we are not consumed, because at the end of the day, we're all sinners. But thank God for God's grace. Thank God for the blood of Jesus. There's no sin that is too big that he cannot forgive. Whatever it is that you think you've done, you know, you can stop today and focus on Jesus. If you've stolen, if you've lied, if you're having sex outside of marriage, whatever it is that you're doing, that you know for sure that if God comes today, or if you're in a car accident and God forbid you die, if you get hit by a car, if God forbid this building crumbles down. Let's say there's an earthquake and I suddenly die without having planned for it, because I don't think anybody really plans to die unless maybe they have like a chronic illness or something like that. But anyway, God forbid you die. If you are doing something right now that you know that if you die, you going to heaven is questionable or you're not sure, my suggestion would be that whatever it is, it's not worth it. If you're living with some guy who's not your husband, you're having sex outside of marriage, it's not worth you going to hell for, right? So whatever it is, everybody knows which area of their life they need to work on. I know the areas of my life that I need to work on, and I am prioritizing my salvation in my 30s. I think you should do the same. The next thing is to build a solid network. Who you know matters. Who knows you matters. In this life, most of the opportunities, most of the good opportunities at least, arise as a result of who knows you, who gave you some piece of information in order for you to be able to make some decision, who you're going to consult when you're in need, and all those things. Even if God wants to help you, God is not going to come from heaven and hand you a car key or a house key or a job, whatever it is that you desire. It's all going to be through people. God works through people. So work on your relationships. Are you a relatable person? Are you a kind person? Are you a loving person? Are you somebody that's people can easily approach? Lose the dead weight, all those friendships that are not working out, all those acquaintances that are not working out. Just get rid of everything that's not working out and focus on the relationships that will be profitable to you, relationships where you can give as well as receive. Invest in a good skincare routine. Whatever you're doing to your face now, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, we're going to know. If you're not drinking water now, in 10 years time, we're gonna know, because your skin's gonna be all saggy and dry and whatsoever. I'm not saying you have to purchase the most expensive product or the most expensive this. Do the best that you can within your means. There are two things that I personally don't budget: my food. I like good food, and my skincare. I like to take good care of my skin. I mean, sometimes I will complain and ask myself, why am I spending $100 on an eye cream? But at the end of the day, I want to take good care of my skin because I know my face is important. Your face is the first thing people see when they look at you. And I know personally, I don't wear makeup. I can't do the whole makeup thing. So where other people will spend a lot of their money, all their money on makeup products, I spend my money on skincare products because I want my skin to look good and I want to be comfortable in my ordinary skin without wearing makeup. So take good care of your skin. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with makeup, by the way. You can wear your makeup, but make sure that if you're willing to buy a foundation or a powder for $60-$70, be willing to buy a face moisturizer for $50-$60. Don't be that girl who can pay $200 for makeup but can't spend $50 on their real skin. Just make sure you're investing in your real self, because I don't know if you're gonna be wearing makeup for the rest of your life, but yeah, make sure that under your makeup, your real skin is taken good care of. Speaking of taking good care of your skin, also invest in experiences. It's nice to own things, to buy this, to buy that, but at the end of the day, when you're much older, in your old age, I don't think it's going to matter what bag you're using, what shoes you're wearing. I think what's really going to matter is the memories you have in your head. So go to good restaurants, eat good food, travel, treat yourself to a business class ticket, just experience life and build memories with the people that you love, so that later on at the end of the road, you don't have any regrets. And whilst we're talking about investing in ourselves, I think the last thing that I will say is invest in yourself. Don't be stingy on yourself. If you need to take a certain course in order to get a better career or to do better in your business, take that course. Invest in a therapist, pay a certain amount every single month in order to get on the phone or to sit in front of a therapist. So invest in all these type of things. Just invest in yourself. Those are all the tips that I had for you guys today. Let me know what are the things that you think we should be prioritizing in our 30s. And if in your 20s, let me know what things from the things that I said that you will be focusing on and start working towards. God bless you for watching until this end, and I will see you in the next video.